Pax Christi, in the first place, I would say, is an international peace movement. And it's got its secretariat in Brussels. It started as a project during the Second World War in France, actually. And France was occupied by Nazi Germany. And it started by two people, a bishop and a lady, who had the courage to actually to think across borders and to think also about the people who were suffering from this regime in Germany itself. And they started prayer campaigns under difficult circumstances because it was not easy. Also the bishop, he was imprisoned, and in the prison with many other patriotic French people, he was making services, praying for the German people, which was a very daring thing to do. So out of this project, Pax Christi movement started after the World War to reconcile the German and the French people. And so the French section started, and later on the German section, and the Dutch section started in 1947. So it's mainly an organization consisting of volunteers, actually, people who are just driven to make peace, or to contribute to peace building. It rooted in the Catholic Church, but it later on also it got a lot of members and connections with other denominations, other churches, and it has a more ecumenic approach. Now we're also working in Africa, and mainly in the Horn of Africa, but also Central Africa. And there we have a range of programs, and one of those is also to work with the pastoralist societies that often live in conflict because of the many factors, many difficult circumstances they are confronted with. You could say that they are politically marginalized, but also they live in the economic margins of society, where they live from their cattle, which is then the only livelihood, and it's very difficult to find other livelihoods. There's a lack of infrastructure, there's a lack of security, and they have suffered, as many other people in this region, from wars. One of the consequences of these wars is the influx of small arms. And so pastoralist societies now possess an enormous amount of small arms, which they use to defend their property, cattle, but also, of course, there are many elements who use those arms to steal cattle. Now, that is one of the major reasons that we are here, to see how we can tackle this issue of cattle rustling. Well, I said more than only about Pax Christi, but this is one of the reasons also that we are here in this region. Those, of course, the boundaries that you find, the boundaries of the states are, in a sense, they are man-made. At the same time, also, they're artificial. They're, the many populations that have lived here did not have those kind of boundaries, state boundaries. There were more geographical boundaries from rivers or certain plains or mountains. So many of the people live across borders, and also, if they are divided by state boundaries, then still these conflicts go over the borders. And because of the nature of these cross-border conflicts, you need to deal also with the people from the other states, but who are in the same kind of natural region and zone. So therefore, it was necessary also to get raiders and from Uganda, from the Karamojong, and also from the Turkana. Well, the objectives of of this workshop, it was the second one after the first one that we held in Couronne a few months ago, was really to start to build relationships with the different people. It was not, this meeting was not meant to make a peace agreement. Why? Because in many occasions those peace agreements do not hold. And you can already understand this, as I have told you, that there are so many factors contributing to this cattle rustling. And you cannot just only through goodwill solve these conflicts. There should be a long-term program in order to tackle and to deal with all those factors contributing to these conflicts. So what we want to do is to start to build relationships between these different raiders. Normally the people, they meet each other during raids, or they meet each other when there is a conflict. Now, we thought, let us meet now, when there is no conflict, or not a heightened conflict. We can start to build those relations and then see what kind of mechanism are we going to put into place, so people can meet each other more regularly, and they can start to think together to profoundly start to work on a change in the situation that would enable them to live more peacefully together. And this is what we're trying to do. So we are not trying also to criminalize the raiders, but we try to discover more the values that are underneath raiding. Because people, of course, they would like to be a strong or mature men, in this case. They would like to marry. They would like to have respect and self-esteem. Well, in their warrior culture, it is that you go for a raid, and as you know that Toposa also, they make marks on their arms when they've killed somebody. It's really something to be proud of. And this may sound horrific, and maybe it is, but it is not just something that you can say, okay, and therefore now this should stop. Legally, yes. Morally, yes, but is it practical? Is it feasible? No, it will not be, because people will look for their self-esteem. So we try to discuss those values and then to come with solutions so they can retain those values. They can still be proud of each other, of themselves, but they have to express it in a different way. What I sincerely hope is that we have by then, the communities will have found fora, platforms, where they can meet regularly, where they will discuss their issues, where they will control raiding much better, where they have found ways to put forward their needs, appropriate needs from the government. For instance, to build in security, so the government can really protect them from the criminal raiders. The criminal raiders, those who are not controlled by the government, individuals that are just going out to raid and steal cattle for their own private benefit. I do not expect that after 10 years there will be no cattle raiding at all. But I really hope that then that there will be mechanisms that could contain the magnitude of those raids and the damage that is caused by those raids, and that there will be a more general sense of security for the people, so they can really start to develop or live in a way in which they would feel secure and enjoy themselves, their children, and their lives. I believe people, if they express their goodwill of stopping the raids, I believe them. I don't want to be cynical. But I'm realistic enough to see that after, let's say, after a month, there could be another raid again, and that is because of all those factors I've mentioned earlier. If I had to feed my family, or I have to live in a culture, I cannot just escape it. That's hard. And it was, and if I just may answer, give that example, it was very interesting when we were traveling from Narus to Loki. They immediately heard that the Turkana were ready to raid, and the participants immediately took action. They went to the DO, they went to the police, and together they went to those raiders to talk and to prevent them from raiding. They decided to stay the whole night in the kraal together with those raiders to discuss and to be together. Now, I find that that's a great thing to hear. Yeah, it's a positive thing.
I've been in this region since early 1990, working with the Justice and Peace. Even when I was a pastoral coordinator, assistant parish priest, that was my region. And because of all this conflict, I was in it all these years. I know all what have been going, the ups and downs. I've been around there. Yeah, it is one of the pastoral priorities in the diocese. When people are fighting everywhere, well, how can you minister to the people who are dying every now and then? So it was one of our first department that was initiated. I think it was in 1994 that we officially opened this Justice and Peace office. It was by one Father, Dominic Otuari, then Archangelo, and now the third is me. And he has been one of us. Our people you can interrupt our pastoral activities. When you want to go for prayer, you find people killed on the road, you interrupt your thing and say, now we want to talk to our people. And we have been talking with our people about this, because this problem of guns in the hands of the local people have added fire to the existing. It was like fuel. So everywhere, I'm telling you, I have picked so many people on the roads who are killed to their village, and you cannot understand. So it has been one of our priorities of the diocese to say we can reach our people. We have to bring our people together to understand. It would have been just hiding under it. They suffered. If you can tell, when I was in Ikotos, if I go to the village and ask the women who are single mothers, I rode up to 150 in a very small village, and I left the pen down and I say, I'm going to bring us something. Because the biggest number who are killed by this raiding. It's a big thing. It has never been recorded. But if you can know how many people died, how many single mothers who are there because of raiding, not because of the war with the Khartoum government, it is because of raiding. People, the brave people, the handsome boys, everybody have gone. It is, if you go to Boya, then if you go to Loger, the people are finished. They wanted to be brave. The people are finished by raiding. So it is one of our thorn in our flesh to say we want to talk to our people. The Bishop Paridi was over in the forest in Kidepo, sleeping under the trees for weeks. We have been talking, even drinking water, no food. We were there talking to these people, and they seem to have signed. The next day come. It is not an easy thing, but I am seeing that there are signs now that there is no big way organized raiding. They are now thieves. So we can follow this, and I'm telling you, in some years to come, this raiding will be a history. Yeah, that's very simple. There are two things which are very major. One is the prestige, that they wanted to be brave. Then they wanted to say that I have robbed these cows from somebody, so I'm a brave person for prestige and for marriage. But the worst is politicized. There are politicians who want to talk to their people, do this in order to keep them the leaders. They want to be on the top all the time because they want everybody to be down and they to show up that I have told the people to go for raiding, to go and steal the cows. It would have been a part of business, politicized business. So it was just business of the day, because they take to Uganda, they sell the cows, they put in their pockets and everything like that. This was another way of business of these leaders, these commanders, these commissioners. They were making it as a business. You tell the people, they talk different language here, then they go in the secret, tell them that, go for this, and they bring 20 for me, 50 for me. Then people are very happy. They go, they give bullets, they give guns. They have been politicized. So it is not these people. These people are innocent in a way, but they have the other element of theirs, which is cultural. That they have been like that, in revenge. My cows were taken, I have to go and bring. This is small. But the real thing is politicized. If the government take the thing seriously, this thing can stop. Our people can listen. When you hear them, they were talking that during the British, one policeman can bring back the cows and can catch the culprit, but not now. Because the leaders whom they trust are the ones telling them the opposite. We are doing something trying to bring all the stakeholders together and they talk the truth. Be sincere to our people, and then our people should listen to us talking together with all the stakeholders. So we are longing for this and tell them that, and then work together with the government of the day, the commissioners, the civil structures, work together. And then the army are only to be told what to do. Because if they are on their own, they will still do the same thing. So the government today, we have the governor of Eastern Equatoria, who is Aloysius Ojeto, I think somebody who is also open up to end up this raiding. If he's sincere, talk to the commissioners, and I think with us together and tell everybody in open air, I think our people will realize. And then also add with the development, with the other thing, these people will stop. And I'm seeing Kidopo is a bit quiet nowadays. And this is small pockets here and there. We want to go and quench that and see, get the military to be alert. We have put all the radios along Kidopo Valley. We have dispatched almost 7 radios. We want to follow this. And we wanted to really follow. We told them that to follow, honestly, because it was a general punishment. When 3 individuals stole some cows, they go and burn the whole village, kill so many people. It angered the people, and everybody became the enemy of the system. But if we follow the right thing, the culprit is caught, put in its place, and continue praising the others and say, help, make the people to help the people to get the right criminals.
Kotido Peace Initiative is an interfaith organization working in the Karamoja area in Kotido district, now Kabong and Kotido districts in northeastern Uganda. It's working among the communities of the Karimojong, which are living along the corridor of the border of Sudan, Uganda, and Kenya. So my work is mainly in campaign to see that the conflict which is existing in that area among the pastoral groups is resolved amicably. I organize warriors, especially young warriors and elders, to come together to discuss and resolve conflict using non-violence means. They have been very positive and they have been doing quite well. We organize cross-border meetings. Recently we had one in Narus, in Juba, in East Kapota County, that is in South Sudan, where we held one joint meeting which involved the participation of other pastoral groups. The Karimojong from Uganda were represented by the 2 communities of Dodoth, GA, which I mobilized and took to the meeting at Narus. On the Kenya side, there came the Turkana, whom we border, and they are our immediate neighbors on the Kenya side. From the Sudan side, there was a good number of other participants, mainly the Toposa, who are the majority, because the meeting was held in their own area. So many of them attended the meeting because they were from within the area of the meeting. Other communities which participated in the meeting within Sudan included the pastoralists like the Didinga, the Lotuko, and the Nyangatom, who live near Ethiopia border. The meeting of Narus was very important for many reasons. First, it brought the pastoralists, especially the young warriors, together to share their views on how to resolve the conflict which has been existing in their area for a long time. And during that sharing, the youth expressed a lot of desire to come together and continue together to have such meetings so that they can foster unity. So the meeting was very important because it was a forum where the youth who are perceived to be hostile to each other came together in a peaceful way, and they ended up having a dialogue, eating together and playing together. The issue of sport was particularly important because it made them, instead of wrestling over the cattle, which they usually do, and in the process kill each other with guns, this time they were wrestling over the ball, and it was quite interesting because it presented a very opposite view of the usual game which they do when they meet together while wrestling each other's cattle. And during wrestling, usually the results are losses of high losses of property and also of human life. But during the football competition, it was quite different. Instead, the results were joy and happiness and even unity among the youth groups. So the meeting was very important because it enhanced unity among the warrior youth of the pastoralists. Before the meeting started, the general atmosphere was that of suspicion. There was suspicion, and even when we were preparing to select the youth who are going as participants for the meeting at Narus, our youth were not very comfortable. They were so suspicious, and they were not sure how the reception by the Turkana, by the Toposa, and by other groups will be. So they were very suspicious. But during the meeting, I think all those fears were addressed, and we were able to see that there was a difference before and after the meeting. So before the meeting, in short, there were many suspicions among the various groups. It is important to bring the youth, especially the warrior youth, from the pastoralist groups to such meetings, and such meetings must be held regularly and, if possible, interchanged. For example, the next meeting could be held in the Karamoja area, so that the youth of the Karamoja pastoralists will also get the chance to attend such a meeting in larger numbers. And maybe the next meeting could be again in Turkana, and so forth and so forth. So it is very important to have such meetings regularly, and that's what I would wish to really recommend. And maybe I would also love to thank those who contributed to support such gatherings.
I'm the executive chairman for Lokado, and Lokado stands for Lokichogio Oropoi and Kakuma Development Organization. Our objectives: we do peace and conflict resolution, HIV/AIDS awareness across the two borders, Kenya, Uganda, and Sudan borders. And we have our counterpart in Uganda. Those are COPAIN, Continual Peace Initiatives, and you have in Sudan, TDA, Toposa Development Associations. The meeting in Narus has brought all the warriors, the fighters, who normally don't meet. They have been brought together in Narus, and it was a good time for Past Christi to call for this meeting in Narus, because it was difficult for Turkanas, warriors, and the Toposa warriors to meet. They normally call themselves as enemies, because for more than 5 years, there is no any meeting that the warriors have met. This meeting will now show the good results, even to the other communities like the GN, the Dinga, Lotuko. because Turkanas and the Toposa, they believe it is not easy for them to bring them together. And in addition to this meeting also, it has brought the Karamoji on the tribe called the Dof, whereby the Dof also borders some areas where Lokado operates in Oropoi division. Yeah, the benefit to the youth is that it is now, the youth can move freely now. Because in this meeting we have decided that the youth should go to a cattle camp. The youth from Toposa, the youth from Turkana, they should move as one team. They go to Toposa cattle camp, they go to the North cattle camp to preach the word of peace among their communities.